Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Denver Radio Club Learning Net here. We'll get started here in just a few minutes. This is Daron, K1DBC. All stations, please stand by. The Denver Radio Club Learning Net starts in 5 minutes.
W0TX repeater.
This is K1DBC. The DRC Learning Net will start in 1 minute. All stations, please stand by. Hello and welcome back to the Denver Radio Club for December 27th, 2023. It's a great place to learn about ham radio and STEM topics in general, and thankfully we have plenty of combined experience and expertise. This is Kilo 1 Delta Bravo Charlie. My name is Daron. I'm Net Control for this evening's Learning Net. Hey, Michael. Well, we've been doing some updates on our webpage, but it should be up right now. We have a pretty good monitoring tool on it, so you may need to refresh it, but I can check here again in a moment. This is K1 DBC Net Control. There was a question very quickly about our website. We are transitioning over from our existing host to a new host over the next week or so, but everything is still, should be on our old host still, but you may need to refresh some things or clear a cache, but it should be up, but we'll double check that here on my end. With that, this is K1DBC Net Control. We'll be taking your comments, questions, check-ins, updates, and more this evening. We meet every Wednesday, except the third Wednesday of the month, 7:30 p.m. on 145.490 and 448.625. You can contact us via email if you'd like, elmer@w0tx.org. Most social media at Denver Radio Club. We stream and archive our nets over on youtube.com/Denver Radio Club. So if you'd like to see behind the scenes of the net or visual context, that is an additional way to participate in the net. This net can be broken at any time for emergency or priority traffic by using the word break. Is there any emergency or priority traffic at this time? All right, this is K1 DBC Net Control. This might be a shorter net, potentially, being the end of the year here, but with that, I just want to thank all of you for participating in our net over this year and past years, all of our club activities. It's been a lot of amazing activities, a lot of amazing nets, and a lot of cool opportunities and conversations that we've had. So definitely want to thank you all from the bottom of my heart as a net control operator, as well as other parts of this club. We really definitely really do appreciate your help and support to this club. I will double check that here, Michael. All right, this is K1 DBC Net Control. You can follow along with check-ins if you'd like. I'm going to try to do some self-check-in process in the new year. I think early check-ins, I'll open up the spreadsheet, w0tx.org/check-in, and in the future you should be able to put your information in for early check-ins. But if you'd like to follow along with who's checked in this net so far this evening, you can do that again, w0tx.org/check-in. But with that, all check-ins to the net will be taken in alphabetical groups based on the first letter of the suffix of the operator's call sign. The suffix is the first letter after the number in the call sign. If you can, please try to use ITU phonetics, for the call sign at least, and indicate if you have traffic or questions as you check in. If your suffix begins with the letters A through M, Alpha through Mike, please check in now.
W0TX repeater.
November 1, Golf Uniform Mike, Peters, Littleton. Good evening.
Kilo Foxtrot 0, Alpha Whiskey Charlie, Brian, Centennial, no traffic.
All right, this is K1 DBC Net Control. I'd like to welcome and acknowledge the following check-ins here. Online, we had KF0MCM Michael, and then over the air, we had N1GUM Peter and KF0AWC Brian. Thank you all so much for checking in. Once more, we're taking call suffixes A through M, Alpha through Mike, if you'd like to check into the Denver Radio Club Learning Net. Just for the counter, if you have any traffic or questions, let us know your call sign, your name, and if you have any traffic or questions. A through M, please call now.
This is WD0CIB, WD0CIB, Charles in Denver. Anyway, just checking in, and I might have walked over you on the last two call signs that you were talking about. So anyway, you might want to do that over again. This is WD0CIB, back to net control.
Kilo Echo 0, Sierra Uniform Mike, with a comment question.
All right, this is K1 DBC Net Control. I'll hold up there for just a moment. All right, this is K1 DBC Net Control. Sorry about that. So we had a check-in online. Ben, KF0NAT, he had received a from Santa an ATAS 120 and did some 10 meters operation. So maybe we can talk about that. And then we also had WD0CIV Charles and KE0SUM Jonathan. Let me drop here for a moment. This is K1 DBC Net Control. Again, a couple of reports that our web page isn't working at the moment. Again, we are kind of upgrading it a little bit, but it should be up right now. I don't see that it's gone down, but there have been a couple of reports. Again, w0tx.org/check-in, all lowercase on that. I can fix that, but that should be up as well. I'm seeing a couple people in there as well, so I'll continue to check in on that. And then, Charles mentioned he may have stepped over some check-ins there. That I had reported. Let me drop here once more. Happy New Year to everyone. All right, this is K1 DBC Net Control. A couple check-ins, N1GUM Peter and KF0AWC Brian and KF0NAT Ben. We also had checking in online, KB3 VCU checking in. I got you checked in there. Rob, thank you so much for that. All right, this is K1 DBC Net Control. All right, this is K1 DBC Net Control. Y'all give me a heart attack here. It's Wednesday night, 7:30 p.m. Really do appreciate all y'all checking on to the Learning Net here. So let's keep it casual. Hopefully everything's up and running. We will be doing some hard cutovers on our webpage over the next week or so. We will notify you all via email on that. But if you haven't heard anything from us, the website should be up. Again, we do monitor it. And we have a lot of people helping out with that. So this is K1 DBC Net Control. I'll try to shout out volunteers a little bit later on. But again, thank you all for being here. YouTube.com/Denver Radio Club, W0tx.org. Hopefully it is up at the moment. With that, we'll take further check-ins. We're taking call suffixes, the whole alphabet actually, A through Z, Alpha through Zulu. Let us know your call sign, your name, and if you have any traffic or questions, please call now.
Alpha Echo 0 Yankee Romeo, Ed in Arvada with traffic. This is Kilo Echo Zero Alpha Bravo, Cannon Lakewood, no traffic.
Kilo Foxtrot Zero, Foxtrot Papa India, Ron and Lakewood, no traffic.
All right, this is K1 DBC Net Control. Hold up there for just a moment. All right, Net Control would like to welcome and acknowledge the following check-ins. I'm sorry if I missed it earlier, but Jonathan, KE0SUM, got you checked in there with comments or question. We'll get back to you there here in a minute. We then had AE0YR Ed with a follow-up. KE0 Alpha Bravo Ken and KF0 FPI Ron. Thank you all so much for checking in here. All right, this is K1 DBC Net Control. All right, again, this is Daron, K1 DBC Net Control for the Denver Radio Club Learning Net. Really do appreciate all you have been able to check in throughout the year here, past years to this net, other nets. Your participation really is what drives this club and motivates us to do better. So we really do appreciate it, and we hope for a better 2024, a new year, and yeah, we really do appreciate everyone who's been able to check in. Yeah, we have records going back, again, w0tx.org/check-in, going back to 2021 and probably a bit further. So, yeah, thank you all so much for participating in this net, other nets, and keeping this hobby going on and our club going on as well. So this is K1 DBC Net Control. All right, KF0 MCM, I got you checked in. Thank you so much. If you have anything, let us know.
W0TX repeater.
Yeah, I saw that and appreciate your help and everything. I just wanted to let everybody know, not that it's terribly important, but I passed my general last week. Foxtrot Zero, Mike Charlie.
Excellent. Great to hear that, MCM. I somehow mistyped that here. So KF0 MCM, Michael. Yeah, that's great to hear on a recent pass of the general test. Yeah, that's great to hear. If you have any suggestions for anyone else, or if you would like to let us know how you studied or who you went to a test with, go right ahead.
Well, since I'm as hard-headed as I am, I started it the old-fashioned way, just reading the text. But several accomplished hams suggested I use the free app and just read the questions. And it felt like cheating, it just felt like cheating. But doing that really proved successful. That free app and everything it organizes the material and it teaches you what you're weak on. And if you need to look, detailed into the full questions and explanations, it's there for you. But that is definitely the way to do it. So, working on the next level. Hey, this is it for me tonight. Happy holidays to everybody. Kilo Foxtrot Zero, Mike Charlie.
Excellent, Michael. Great to hear that. MCM, KF0, MCM. Yeah, that's great study tool there. I'm not sure which one specific, but there are a lot available. Hamstudy.org provides a lot of the same functionality you were kind of just mentioning there, and free of charge. Question pool is available. The FCC does provide that. The questions and answers are free, but study tools like this you can use on your computer or smartphone or whatever it may be. Makes it a lot easier to study. So yeah, great to hear on that, and yeah, a great tool to use. So yeah, thank you for that, and great to hear you in there. All right, several congratulations from the YouTube chat here. Really do appreciate that. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, take the tests, study for them. Try not to be too afraid of it, and honestly, yeah, it's I think the rote method is what we talked about in terms of studying. Learning and just ingesting it all and then regurgitating it on a test doesn't seem like you might know the knowledge, but through osmosis and through experience, you will gain and understand a lot of this material a lot more better over the years. So, get the tests out of the way, and you have plenty of years. Everyone has plenty of years to understand the engineering behind it. So, very awesome to hear. All right, this is K1 DBC Net Control. All right, this is K1 DBC Net Control. Memorization is not cheating, and that's how a lot of learning is done. Learn through reading. Translate some of the, you can do text to speech for some of the questions, and there's YouTube videos where you can watch people reading them off. So, ingest as much as you can via text or audio, and the tests are a breeze. So, yeah, really awesome to hear that. This is K1 DBC Net Control. I'll throw it out to the group here in just a moment. There's a few people who checked in. I had some traffic, but I'll take check-ins. Any other further check-ins? We're taking all check-ins, A through Z, Alpha through Zulu. Please call now.
November 0, Tango Romeo Papa, Jim in Lakewood. Good evening.
Alpha Bravo 8, Whiskey November, Pete in Arvada, no traffic.
All right, this is K1 DBC Net Control. That time we had N0TRP Jim and AB8WN Pete. Peter, thank you so much all for checking in here. All right, this is K1 DBC Net Control. That last check-in, Pete, I just wanted to thank him as well. He's been helping out here a lot here recently, as well as Jerry Hurt. I'm forgetting the call sign at the moment, but they have been doing an excellent job of trying to migrate our website into a more stable condition. But thank you so much, Pete, and to everyone else who's, and Jim as well, N0TRP, for taking net control operations in the past. Thank you all who have been able to volunteer for our club. We really do appreciate it. Again, from the bottom of our hearts, it's honestly what keeps the club moving along. So thank you all for checking in and continuing to help us out.
Jay's call sign is November 0 Sierra Romeo, just FYI.
Thank you so much for that, Pete. N0SR Jay Hurt, another person who's been helping out with our website. We really do appreciate that. So thank you so much for that, AB8WN and N0SR. All right, this is K1 DBC Net Control at 7:50 p.m. local mountain time here. We have another 40 or so minutes here. A few people have checked in. Again, thank you all for checking into our nets over the last year. And so it's awesome to keep this tradition going along and keep this net going here. So we'll take check-ins throughout the net, youtube.com/Denver Radio Club, w0tx.org/check-in to follow along who's been checking in here. with that, we'll throw it over to Jonathan, KE0SUM. The net is yours. Go ahead.
Thanks, Jerome. I was thinking about it. Earlier you said people have checked online, and well, I don't do that, and I think there's a reason for it. That's like just a minute ago I heard Pete and Jim, and I know their voices right away. And I like to hear amateur radio's voices. Might not know what they look like, but I know their voice. So, yeah, checking it online, that's not fair, guys. You're cheating. I don't know what your voice sounds like unless I happen to know your call sign. KE0SUM, back to now.
This is K1 DBC Net Control. Yeah, that's an interesting topic there. Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of interesting. Yeah, it makes it a lot easier to check in if you can't make it over the airwaves. That is definitely a huge benefit of it. Obviously, if you can't hear someone's voice or see their face or whatever it may be, you may not know who they are. But I'll try to relay any chat that's ever given online. And most people try to be just good humans. And that's all we're trying to be, and check into the net here. So yeah, it is interesting. But if you ever meet someone in person and you don't recognize their voice or their face, it might make that a little bit more difficult. But yeah, it's just another way of keeping in contact. I don't know. I'll throw it out to you or anyone else on that. Go right ahead. All right, this is K1 DBC Net Control.
W0TX repeater.
All right, there. Good, interesting topic there, Jonathan. Yeah, it makes it a little bit more difficult if you meet someone in person, and if you haven't heard their voice before or haven't seen their face, it might make it more difficult to recognize them at least. But it's just another method of communication. So, but yeah, I don't know if you have anything else on that or anyone else. Go right ahead. All right, this is K1 DBC Net Control. I have a couple things I can bring up. There's other check-ins here as well, more information. There was a few in-person events we had recently. I don't know if anybody went to the same day at the holiday party. I know we had a few people there as well, and during that day, I think midday, there was a in-person meeting, I think at a luncheon. So if anybody has any follow-up on any of that, let us know. Otherwise, we can follow up with Ed here, YR. But I guess anybody on the topic of our in-person holiday party or other things, go right ahead.
N1 GUM.
N1 GUM. Peter, go right ahead.
Yes, good evening to the group. Just want to comment on the annual meeting, which was the dinner up at Jefferson County Airport. And it was excellent meeting. I think there were maybe like 40 people there. And the food was excellent and a lot of good prices out there. So it was nice to see people and have conversations and have face-to-face meetings after a long absence. So hopefully we can do it again soon. So for all the people we were seeing up there, it was fun to hang out together. And I encourage all of you who couldn't make it and maybe try again next year. Back to net. This is N1 GUM.
TRP.
GOM, thank you so much for that review of the in-person meeting. That was great to hear. And yeah, hopefully, unfortunately I didn't make it this year, but I'll try to make it next year, and hopefully we'll have more in-person events next year as well. So that's awesome to hear. We also had N0TRP. Jim, go right ahead.
This N0TRP. Yeah, I also really enjoyed the dinner meeting. I thought that was great. Good to get to know some folks that heard on the air, but and as Jonathan said, immediately recognize their voice, but just fun to meet in person. And then, too, also enjoyed the Lakewood Lunch Group. Anyone listening would like to join us for lunch at 11:30 on third Wednesdays at the Valley Inn on South Wadsworth, there just south of Jewel. Any and all are welcome. You live in this area or work in Lakewood, do feel free to stop by. I'd love to have anybody that's interested. N0TRP, back to net.
Excellent, N0TRP. Jim, thank you so much for the follow-up on that and the reminder of that luncheon meeting. So that's awesome to hear. So yeah, it's great to hear. And I wish I had been able to make it this year, but yeah, it sounds like it was a pretty good event. And I think there was Edge of Space Sciences was the topic there. So really cool stuff there. So this is K1DBC Net Control. I'll throw it over to Ed here in just a moment, but we'll take further check-ins. This is the Denver Radio Club Learning Net, great place to learn about ham radio STEM topics. We have plenty of combined experience and expertise. This is K1DBC. My name is Daron, Net Control. So with that, we'll take all call signs, all call suffixes. Let us know your call sign, your name, and if you have any traffic or questions. If you'd like to check in, please call now.
Alpha Fox 0 Echo, Alex Brumfield. Kilo 0 Lima Alpha India, K0 LAI, Larry in Lakewood.
All right, this is K1DBC Net Control. I'd like to welcome and acknowledge the following check-ins: AF0E Alex and K0LAI. Thank you all so much for checking in here. All right, this is K1DBC Net Control. With that, we'll throw it over to Ed, AE0YR. The net is yours. Go right ahead.
Thanks, Daron. Good evening, everyone. My question has to do with handheld transceivers. I'm speaking to you on a Baofeng, actually, a BFS-8 HP, albeit on a nice high base station antenna. And one of my main reasons for getting into ham was to have an additional way to communicate or attempt to communicate from remote wilderness or backcountry locations. So my question is, in looking at higher-end, perhaps more expensive, more featured handheld transceivers, is there reason to expect that one would be better able to make contacts, say in an emergency situation in a backcountry setting, with one of those more high-end HTs because of the magic that goes on inside them that I don't know about, as opposed to a more entry-level one like the one I have?
Good question there, AE0YR. Jim, this is K1DBC Net Control. I think you had mentioned you had a Baofeng BF, Bravo Fox, Foxtrot 8 Hotel Papa. Looks like a fairly similar kind of model, probably. It looks like it's 8 watt, so it's pretty good on that. In terms of the features and functionality on the higher end ones, it'll be somewhat of kind of maybe a digital realm or APRS or some other functionalities that really isn't wouldn't really affect emergency use cases. So yeah, 8-watt HT would definitely be able to get you out there in an emergency situation. So yeah, this is K1DBC Net Control. Yeah, there's a lot of features and functionality that are kind of optional on some of the more higher end HTs, but in the lower ones, most of us have operate very similarly. So I'll throw it out to the group or anyone else on that. Go right ahead.
Comment, SUM.
Yeah, Jonathan, SUM with the comment. Go ahead.
So you bring up a very interesting point compared to Baofangs versus more expensive transceivers, but most of them are still putting out 5 watts. Generally, what happens is the specs change for receive and transmit, but would it work in an emergency situation? Certainly. I don't know in an emergency situation. For an amateur radio operator, I tend to use VHF. As an HF operator, I obviously use that, but that's a good question. KE0, SUM, back to net.
All right, this is K1DBC Net Control. All right, this is K1DBC Net Control. In emergency uses, all things should work as needed. You'll probably get maybe a little bit more battery life on a more simple device, something that a simple Baofeng compared to something that has other features and functionality that may wear down the battery over time. But again, some digital aspects, some Bluetooth maybe, APRS functionality. What else? I'm struggling to think of some of the features you would see in higher end, but essentially at the end of the day, they more or less serve the same function of dual band VHF, UHF, 70 centimeter, 2 meter transceiver operation, 5 watts up to 8 or so plus watts HTs. So anyone else on that or Ed, go right ahead.
This is Ed again. I suppose I could add on to that question that I also assume that when I get around to learning how to bounce a signal off a satellite, that would probably also improve my likelihood of making contact when in a remote location. True?
Oh, I don't know. Satellite communication only lasts a few minutes at the most, and you have to have the telemetry right with this, maybe your Yagi. So, yeah, you could get communications.
TRP.
All right, Jonathan, SUM, thank you for the follow-up on that. We also had TRP. And then in terms of what I barely know is satellite operations with some of these more simpler radios do require 2 radios for receive and transmit separately. But there are some HTs that are capable of doing that all in one. So that might what you might be alluding to there. And then we had a TRP. Jim, go right ahead.
Yeah, this N0 TRP, with the satellites probably would be a little bit difficult because you have to have the tracking software on a cell phone or something as well to be able to kind of follow it, know where it is. The other thought I had was that probably rather than the radio, the antenna might be a better area to focus on. Might want to swap out the rubber ducky with a quarter wave vertical ground plane antenna, have a what they call a tiger tail counterpoise on it to get more signal strength out the antenna. N0 TRP back to net.
LAI.
Great follow-up there, TRP, and then we had LAI. Yeah, absolutely. Follow up on focus on a little bit more on the antenna side, and you might get a lot more functionality of it. But basically, as we know, antennas can make a world of difference. And line of sight. These HTs can operate as we've been talking about with satellites on 5 watts. So maybe wattage isn't important, and maybe more where it's important to focus on is the antenna there. So great follow up on that TRP. We then also had K0LAI. The net is yours, Larry. Go ahead.
This is K0LAI. TRP's right. Antenna would be a good place to focus. Having a radio with more wattage certainly would help you get out a little better, depending on, especially if you're in an isolated area like the mountains. But then 8 watts, depending on the battery size, you might use up the battery a lot more depending on what you're doing. One of my suggestions is you would carry 5 watts with a good antenna is pretty good. You can get out to some places, and so that's probably a good way to go. But I'm thinking maybe using also, maybe a digital mode, something like that doesn't need as much power to transmit. This new LoRa uses very little wattage, and there's a lot of these LoRa stations all over, and it's kind of like, trying to think. It's on UHF though, but it works pretty well. I guess there's a global network, and I'm not sure if satellites are picking it up now or not. But that's something to look into. It's something I've been learning from Aries people. K0LAI, back to net.
All right, thank you so much for the follow-up there, Larry, on that. Yeah, a lot of radio communications availability to us, and some newer technology as well, as you mentioned there, LoRa, so really cool stuff there. Long-range radio, really cool stuff, so wide area. We also had AB8WN. Pete, go right ahead. The net is yours.
Hi, I was just going to add one more thing for kind of the high-end radios. The funny thing is I just picked up a new one yesterday for the purpose of doing some of that more advanced stuff, and was mentioned APRS, and I think for emergency type of stuff, that's one thing I'm going to try when I'm kind of out doing some stuff, is have my radio beacon out, so that way if something happens, at least people can, my wife can look at where I was or anything like that. So I think that's one thing. Again, though, someone has to be able to receive that. It has to get out to a digipeater and that type of stuff. So it still has to get out. And the radio I've got does 5 watts, so it's less than you've got on your radio. But I think that's one of the things that I'm looking for in this, to try it out and see if I go in the back country or I go somewhere, how much those packets get out and can do that. So I think that's one thing that I was looking for in what I got as well. So this is AB8WN, back to net.
GUM.
All right, great follow-up on that. AB8WN on APRS is a pretty good functionality for beaconing out your location, very very much in case of emergency purposes. And with the mountain peaks that we have pretty good coverage. Very cool stuff there with APRS. And then we also had Peter, M1GUM. Go right ahead.
Thank you, Daron. Another suggestion I would like to make for people that go into the backcountry, load the repeater book onto your phone, and as you carry it out into the backcountry, even if you don't have cell phone coverage, it provides a nice feature, and that is you can find the repeater that is closest to you with the frequency and distance and general direction. So that might help also with communication, and to know the frequency and of the nearest repeater, to maybe reach that, and therefore have the tool to tune into where you have the best chance of being able to get a communication channel opened up. This is N1GUN, back to net.
All right, and one GOM. This is a K1 DBC net control. Very good follow-up on that. Yeah, absolutely. We take for granted the 5G and 4G communications that we have, so it surprises some people and catches you off guard once you get into the higher altitudes. And you may not have a connection, a cellular connection out there, and you can't load the basic information that you need to connect to a repeater. So yeah, preload repeater lists if you're going up in the high country and where you might not have good cell coverage and might not have good radio coverage. But yeah, preload, really good basic tool on our list of preparing when it comes to trekking out in those higher altitudes. So really do appreciate that.
W0TX repeater. LEI.
All right, this is K1 DBC net control. All right, we had LAI in there. Again, just to repeat, in terms of some of the basic preparedness in terms of it, a lot of people are getting caught off guard. They're coming from cities in lower altitude, or even just from Denver and then traveling up into higher altitudes, and they're not prepared. They don't have the right clothing, necessary means for overnight staying if needed at higher altitudes. So yeah, wear appropriate clothing, bring the appropriate food and water, and definitely do not don't mess with the higher altitudes because it will Mother Nature will catch out on that one. So yeah, just some basic preparedness on that. With K0 LAI, Larry, the net is yours. Go ahead.
This is K0 LAI. So APRS, yes, that could be a very useful mode to get messages out at the minimum. Another thing is a lot of Android phones. If you have an Android phone, you can get a cable that will connect from the phone to a Kenwood style, which also includes Baofeng radio, and you can put APRS Droid on that phone, and you could actually be beaconing and sending text messages out on your cell phone while you're out in the backcountry. And if you have appropriate antenna, you should be able to hit a beacon someplace to get to APRS FI servers. And so that's another way. You can do texting. You can actually text to a cell phone as well, or send email to somebody. So that's another option that you could do. But I recommend highly, before you're going to go in any of these places, practice these different methods first to make sure they'll work before you put yourself in any dangerous situations. This is K0 LAI, back to net.
All right, this is K1 DBC net control. Yeah, thank you so much for the follow-up on that, K0 LAI. Very good shout out there. Yeah, our cell phones can act as APRS originators, essentially, if we can connect it up through a TNC connection or potentially a USB connection to our Android phones. APRS Droid, really good tool there to use as well. So a lot of tools available to us in the modern day and age here. So thank you so much for the follow-up on that. All right, this is K1 DBC net control. Another tool here from Bluetooth APRS TNC Perspectives is the Mobile Link D, which we've talked about. I think Larry's brought up in the past. It's a Bluetooth APRS TNC, so that's a pretty cool option to use there for radio beaconing from your cell phone through your Baofeng or HT radio. So really cool stuff on that. All right, this is K1 DBC net control. let's see, I'll relay a message here from Ben, KF0NAT in the chat here. He'd mentioned earlier on he had received or gotten an ATAS 120 antenna for Yaesu. He was doing a lot of 10-meter work here. He managed to QSO into New York, down East Coast through Florida, also Chile, Guatemala, and Belize. So good, fun 100 watts from their vehicle. It took a couple of hours, took out, but thank goodness for YouTube and some tutorials there potentially. So really cool stuff to hear there, Ben, if you're still out there. So hopefully the holiday has treated people well. If you want to pass along any equipment that you may have purchased or received or going to, let us know. So yeah, we have another 15 minutes or so. I'll throw it out to the group. Any other further comments, questions, follow-ups, anything else, please call now.
Yeah, this is WD0CIV. Yeah, Jerome, I forgot to tell you, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, and thanks for the net every week. Anyhow, that's all I have. Back to net control.
All right, CIV, WD0CIV, this is K1DBC Net Control. Thank you for the kind words there as well. Yeah, it warms the cockles of my heart, if you will, to be able to run this net and help out and contribute with this. So it is my pleasure to be able to continue this on, and really it's I'm always glad to be able to hear your voices and see you all, so this is a great opportunity, and I really am very happy to be able to provide that, and happy to bring people into the tutelage and bring more people on here. So thank you so much for that as well. All right, thanks, Ben. All right, this is K1DBC Net Control. We also had NAT Ben signing off on the YouTube there. Thanks for the net. We'll be able to, glad to be able to hear you here soon. All right, this is K1DBC Net Control. We have another 10, 15 minutes or so here. I'll try to wrap it up here, but December 27th, today is 8:17 p.m. Mountain Time. Glad to have everyone on here, the Denver Radio Club Learning Net. Great place to learn about ham radio. Anyone else, any other comments, questions, check-ins? I can bring up a couple things, but anyone else, any other comments, questions, please call now.
Woody at Franktown, no traffic.
Little clam. Very interesting. I know the expression. SUM.
All right, this is K1DBC Net Control. I think we had a double on there. SUM, I think I heard the trailing end of what you were mentioning there, and then I think we had Woody checking in from Franktown. I didn't catch your call sign, Woody. If you can go ahead and try again once more, please call now.
0 Uniform India W0 UI, Woody in Franktown, no traffic.
Woody checking in from Franktown. I didn't catch your call sign, Woody. If you can go ahead and try again once more, please call now.
0 Uniform India W0 UI, Woody in Franktown, no traffic.
All right, this is K1DBC Net Control. I got you there, Woody. Sorry about that. W0 UI, Woody from Franktown. Thank you so much for checking in here. All right, this is K1DBC Net Control. Thank you so much for checking in there. Looks like first time checking in here. Really do appreciate that. If you have any comments or questions for us, don't hesitate to let us know. But great to hear you in there. All right, this is K1DBC Net Control. All right, I think we also had Jonathan, KE0SUM, mentioning something there. Go right ahead. The net is yours.
W0TX repeater.
I'll use an old phrase called cockles of your, it's made your cockles of your heart go good. Cockles is an old term, and for some reason I thought they were like clams, but I believe they're a cookie from a little further research. SUM, back to that.
All right, this is K1 DBC Net Control. I watch a lot of British and consume a lot of British and UK media and podcasts and YouTubers, things like that. I'm not too sure how it has happened, but I seem to find myself using some of the terms that they use, and it's very old terms. Yeah, cockles of the heart, cockles, the ventricles, named by some in Latin is cochlea cordis. But the strings of my heart, or whatever we may say here in American English. So thank you so much for that, on that. All right, this is K1 DBC Net Control. Another 10 minutes. I can bring up a thing or two, but anyone else? Any other comments, questions, check-ins, anything else for this evening's Learning Net? Please call now. All right, this is K1 DBC Net Control. We'll take any other comments, questions, check-ins. We have another 10 minutes or so. Any other further comments, questions, check-ins for the Denver Radio Club Learning Net this evening? Please call now. All right, this is K1 DBC Net Control. Again, we don't talk about politics or religion on here, but we definitely appreciate everyone who can really just contribute to our hobby and hope to show the world that electronics and engineering and STEM really is kind of a guiding principle for how we should live humanity. I'm not preaching anything or anything here, but it brings a lot of people together and for a lot of good. So there's a lot of frustrations and oddness going on from a geopolitical standpoint, but from ham radio perspective, we stand by everyone, and we really do appreciate worldwide whomever can help our hobby and help continue giving us guidance with electronics and ham radio. So that's all that I'll say on that. With that, I have one story here I can bring up, but anything else? Otherwise, I can bring up one story here, and we can try to wrap things up here. All right, this is K1 DBC Net Control. This isn't so much of a story as it was a question posed on the reddit.com/amateur radio. Why do airplanes use AM instead of single sideband? This person was curious why a single sideband is much more efficient compared to AM, so why aren't they using it? Some responses given here. Several use single sideband on many overwater flights on HF frequencies, so over the horizon when that's needed. As far as efficiency, they have ranges worked out as to how far they can communicate with standard power levels antennas. They don't want max distance as we hams do. They just want to cover the airspace. This lets them reuse frequencies from place to place, and they know that someone heading for this airport won't be listening to someone else at that airport. Another follow-up here. It's easier to squelch out noise if the signal has a carrier, which AM does. Also doesn't change a system that works. Don't change a system that works, especially when people's lives depend on it. So that's a pretty good follow-up on that. All right, so yeah, this is K1 DBC Net Control. Yeah, pretty cool question there. Some pretty cool follow-up. Yeah, so if you have a shack in a box or a radio capable of AM reception, definitely try to tune into some AM airband signals, and you might have some fun tuning in on that. So that's kind of just a very simple response to why do airplanes use AM instead of single sideband. All right, this is K1 DBC Net Control. I'll try to do a recap for the topics that we've talked about over the last year. We can maybe bring that up next week, but I'll bring up some topics that were hot over the last 12 months over this subreddit here. Let me drop for a moment. Let's see. Some of the top topics were a signal identification chart, VHF, UHF signal identification chart. Pretty good website, sigidwiki.com, as in signal identification. You can look up amateur radio signals and other signals and look and see what they look like on a waterfall, as well as what they hear. So really cool tool there. Seeing a lot of youth involvement overseas and within the United States as well, getting licensed. So really cool to see new licensees, people getting upgraded. Really cool stuff on that. A lot of people using a lot of different satellite technologies and bringing in a lot of different electronics into the amateur radio hobby. Getting newer equipment, a lot of memes this year, but a lot of just a year of exploration and trying to understand this hobby and what it can do for us. So, some really cool stuff. Reddit.com/r/amateur radio. With that, I'll throw it out to the group. We'll start to wrap this up here. Any other comments, questions, check-ins, please come there. All right, this is K1 DBC Net Control. Again, for the third or fourth time, I can't say it enough, though. Thank you all so much for being here this evening and other evenings and at other nets and other meetings. You all really help to contribute to us continuing it as a club and helping to continue on this hobby as a tradition. So we really do appreciate that. This is K1 DBC Net Control. This will be the second to last call. Any second to last call comments, questions, or check-ins, please call now. All right, this is K1 DBC Net Control. This will be the last call for the Denver Radio Club Learning Net, the last Learning Net for this year, December 27th, just a few days before we ring in the new year. Any other last-minute comments, questions, check-ins for this evening's Learning Net, please call now. All right. Well, with that, again, thanks all around. We really do appreciate everyone's participation. This is K1 DBC Net Control. Let me drop here and we'll wrap the net up. All right, this is K1 DBC Net Control. We had a total of 16 check-ins. We really do appreciate that. Join us next week for the next Learning Net. 7:30 p.m. N0TRP Jim will be taking that again. Thank you so much for taking that net, Jim. YouTube.com/Denver Radio Club. YouTube W0TX.org. Our website is being updated here, so there might be some downtime on that. We hope it shouldn't be too much, but we will be working on it over the next few weeks here. Again, thanks to Pete, AB8WN, and N0SR. Jerry for helping on that. So this is K1 DBC Net Control. I don't have much else with that, so we will close out the net 7-3 to all. It is 8:29, 8:30 p.m. now, local Mountain Time. So you all take care. 7-3. I am clear. Thank you, Grant all. We'll see you all next year.